Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one because I'm going to be doing a flip through of my 2021 Always Fully Booked planner. I know this is a little late as it's already the middle of January in 2022, but I've been very busy packing orders and haven't really had time to sit down and film this until now. So hopefully you don't mind it's a little late. So over on my Instagram and my TikTok, I did a couple of quick videos showing like certain pages of my planner, and I asked you guys if you wanted to see like an entire flip through, and a lot of you said yes, you wanted to see one. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So like I mentioned, this is my 2021 planner. It is like my complete planner. It is quite thick now that it's all done, but I'm excited to show you what I have done. Before we get into the flip through, I did want to just briefly mention, please don't mind my nails. Like I mentioned, I just wrapped up shipping with all the cardboard and tape and everything. I can't ever like do my nails because they just get ruined, so don't mind them. I know they're not great. Another thing I wanted to mention, which I feel like I don't necessarily need to say, but wanted to say anyways, this is just how I use my planner. Planners are pretty personal things. They're gonna look different for everyone. I have mentioned this a few times, but I view working in my planner as a bit of self-care time. So I put a lot of time and effort into it. I really enjoy doing it. And this is just what works for me and how I use my planner. I know not everyone uses the planner the same way, but I just wanted a disclaimer that this is just how I use my planner. It doesn't mean that's how you have to use it. The great thing about these planners is you can kind of adjust them or change them or adapt them into what works best for you. So I just wanted to mention that quickly before we get into it. But without further ado, let's just jump into the flip through. So that didn't fill this in because it never leaves my house. I don't really use this for tracking anything. I just kind of reference it if I ever need to. And we have the first kind of real page. I did want to also mention that because I use this planner for my business as well, there's going to be some sections I can't show you. So they will be just covered up so you can kind of get the idea, just because I don't want all of that information out on the internet. Anyways, here's a look at my important info page. I think I have a video setting up this planner where I kind of show how I do this. I didn't do the starting stats. I didn't really feel like I needed to do that, so I didn't. Again, my goals I showed in a video, so I'm just gonna skip right through that. You can go back and watch that video if you want to see how I did this page. Then we have the A to Z challenge. This is the first year I've ever finished the A to Z challenge, so I am really happy about that. One question I always get asked about this page is which pen I use to fill this in. It is my favorite brush pen. It's the only brush pen I really use in the planner. The Tombow Fudonosuke brush pen. I get the hard nib version. Anyways, really happy that I finished this. Like I said, it was the first year I'd done so. Moving on to the other challenges, I also completed these 3 challenges that were also in the planner. One thing I did want to know, a lot of you were asking kind of how I did this throughout the year, if you like changed your mind. I don't fill this in pen until the end of the year. I use pencil first so I can move things around. I know some people use Post-its. You could just ink it in if you wanted to. Again, totally up to you, but I personally use pencil first and then ink it when it's complete. Moving on, we have my bookshelf page completed. Obviously, I didn't read enough books to finish it, but this is all of the books that I read in 2021. I love how this page came out. It's one of my favorite pages to do. Then we have the reading checklist. This year, I used them as a reading log. The previous year, I did it as a TBR and checked them off as I read them. This year, I wanted to try something different. So it is a reading log of every book I read in 2022, just so I can have it all in one place for easy reference. I have in the checkbox, the color is the genre, and it has a letter for the format when I obviously have my star ratings. And along the sides here, I have the month and then highlighted with the color I associate with that month, so I can see like which books I read in which month. I really like how I did it, so I think I'm going to do that again in 2022. Obviously, I only used 2 spreads. So for the third one, I actually tracked the books that my partner read in 2021. He read 3 books. Then we move into the book series tracker. I did not read a lot of series in 2021, so I didn't do much in terms of the series tracker. I'm hoping for 2022 to tackle some more of these, so some of these will be moving over. If I finished a series, I did highlight it so I knew I was kind of done with all the books that were like currently out and that I had read. Then we have the Battle of the Books. So this is it finished. Get a lot of questions about this page and how to use it. There are a lot of ways in terms of which books you choose, but how it works is you start with 12 books. There are numbers along the sides. You pick the 12 books and have them like essentially battle it out for the top 4 books, and then again battle it out so you have 2, and then you pick a winner. So for example, like these first 3 books, you pick which one of these 3 you liked the best, and that will be the winner, etc., etc. For me in 2021, I did for each month. So this was my favorite book in January, February, March, and so on. Again, I would highlight the winner so I could like easily visually see which one won. Some people just pick like their top 12 books and do it that way. Some people like do January here and February here. This page was a lot of fun. That's just what it's for. Obviously, like there's always going to be variables that would like alter the results depending on where books are placed and which ones they're competing against, but it's just for fun. It was fun to fill it out. Moving on, we have my quotes page. I only did one of the quotes page, so this is my favorite quotes from I think like the first half of the year. I didn't end up doing the second spread. I just didn't really have time to do it, so I do only have one. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. It's totally okay if you don't use every sheet in the planner. You don't have to. Again, your planner, your rules. Moving on, catalog of signed and special editions. I only had 3 books that were special editions. Wishlist. These are just some books throughout the year I had like jot down quickly that I'm like, if I heard someone talk about it and I was intrigued, I would add it to my list, check it off if I got it. Nothing fancy. I didn't bother with price or anything. Then we have, this was a second wish list page. I changed it to a TV and movies page. So I color coded whether it was a TV or movie, put the title, and then which platform I watched it on. The new planner has a separate TV and movie tracker, so I don't really need to do this, but it was fun to change a layout that didn't work for me or I didn't need and change it into something else. Then we have my 5-star reads. I don't think this was all of my 5-star reads, but just some of my like standouts. Coloring page, I never finished it, but I do like what I was doing. Maybe one day I'll finish it for real. Then we move into the months. I'm gonna go through these really quickly just because it's pretty repetitive, but I'll just flip through so you can see all of the different spreads of all the months. If I have something to point out, I will. The calendar pages I use for social media, just to keep track of what I'm posting on which social media, also like restock days and stuff with my shop. TBR, new releases page, I color code by genre. And then we get into the weekly spreads. I did a vertical layout. It was my first year doing a vertical layout, and I am obsessed now. I don't think I could go back to horizontal. I have just found what works for me and how I like to categorize my day-to-day information. But this first spread was my first time. I was really pleased with how it came out, but as we get further into the year, you'll see kind of how I learned and grew and tried new things. Yeah, so we're just gonna go through. On the sides here, I track my pages read, my steps, a highlight and a low light with a weekly to-do list here that is consistent throughout. And then in terms of how I categorize, the top row is my to-do list, usually for work. And then the middle is usually random. It's a mix of like entertainment, workout, quotes, doodles. And then the bottom is always books. This is when I kind of started exploring with doodling more and like just adding little things to it. This is kind of where I started getting like really interested in the vertical layout. We have the Bookish Haul, and this one I actually changed it to arrived. I took out the price because I personally didn't need to track that element, so I always removed it and then made a checkbox if I received it, so that way if I did pre-orders or if a book was like delayed in arriving, I could like see which ones had arrived and which hadn't. This is my just reading wrap up, so I don't read enough to fill the whole thing, so I also started tracking movies and TV monthly so I could see what I was watching. Then we have my dot grid. I always did a habit tracker of some kind, and with my daily pages red graph. This is like one of my favorite things to do in my planner. I just love at the end of the month seeing it come together. And then on the notes page, I keep track of my shop stats. Moving into February. This one I had it as top secret because at the time I couldn't really say that we had signed the papers for our house just yet. So I made this cute little thing. Yeah, and I tried to incorporate more like 2-day things if I didn't really have anything those days. And I did like doodles based on the book. This planner like really inspired me to get creative, and which is why I say it's, for me personally, a creative outlet, kind of a self-care moment. I really like how this planner has inspired me to do that. Again, same thing. The information will kind of always be the same. It's just like the styles that maybe change. I always try and keep the colors consistent to like the month, just because I like color coordination. Moving into March. March, I think, was not a great reading month for me. We were selling our house, so there was so much going on. Like this week, we had our house being shown for the entire week, so I didn't read anything, as you can see. But I still wanted to like use my planner and keep track of it. Even if you have like a bad reading month, you can still use the planner. Sometimes I get asked if they don't have something to put on the day. It doesn't really have to be anything. Sometimes I would put like inspirational little quotes I heard, or like doodle flowers. This one was just like a doodle, or I just take like something really innocent. Like I had to pick out appliances for our new house this day, and I kind of went with it. So it doesn't have to be like a big moment. It was more for me just like the act of sitting down and taking time and, like I said, being creative. We have my quarterly check-in page. I've shown this on my Instagram quite a few times, so I'm not going to really go too much into it, but I really, really love how the quarterly check-ins turned out this year. For the memorable moments, I decided to try and doodle something for each memorable moment, which was really fun, also challenging, but I did really like it. And then I tried to stick to a color scheme based on the background, which I just really like how everything kind of came out. Move into April. This is another one of my favorite spreads. I tried to get like really creative with it and like try new things, and yeah, it's just, I really like how this one came out. Moving into May. Our moving week, so not a lot of reading happening here. When we moved, we had to stay with my in-laws. We originally were supposed to stay for a few days, which turned into a few weeks because our house wasn't finished. It all worked out. So actually, while we were at our in-laws, I barely read anything. And then when we were moving, we drove from Ontario to New Brunswick. I barely read anything. And then when we got to our new house, we didn't have any of our stuff, so I barely read anything then. So not a lot of reading going on in the next month or so, but I did kind of record other things. Obviously, did not have a whole lot of time. It's pretty simple. This is one of my favorite spreads. Yeah, this was the week we were traveling to our new house. This was, I didn't read anything this week, but I did a lot of stuff around the house, so that was kind of fun to kind of keep track of and get new doodles. We were also busy exploring our new area after our quarantine was done. Again, like almost no reading until the very end of the month. Like crammed. Another quarterly check-in. Again, I tried to do some doodles. And again, stick to a color scheme. I'm going to try another one of my favorites. This one I think is maybe my top one. I just love the color schemes, love the galaxy, love the quote. I like it. Didn't do new releases this month. I don't always do new releases. If there's not any books I'm like super interested in, I'll just leave it blank. This week I tried to do a black and white theme, which I actually really like how it came out. Usually I'm a color person, but it was really fun to work with like a grayscale. It was challenging too because I feel like I rely on color a lot. I think I used a lot more stickers in the summer because I had not a lot going on. Didn't do as many doodles. Still did some, like this flower. Moving into September. This week is another one of my favorites. So my parents were actually visiting us for the first time in New Brunswick, and so we did a lot of exploring. So obviously didn't do really any reading. I didn't work as much, so I tried to like kind of make this a memory week of everywhere we went, the places we explored. I really like how it came out. It really pushed me in some elements, like drawing the lighthouse and this little covered bridge. Not really used to that kind of thing. I really like how this one came out. It was really fun to do and to use a week in which I didn't work a lot or read a lot, but still could capture the memories. Moving into the wrap up. Better reading month. This one I didn't end up finishing the check-in. I just didn't have time. That's okay. Sometimes that happens, but I did fill in this section. To October, I started to add some stickers. This one was a countdown. I was so busy this week prepping for the launch of the pre-order for the 2022 planner. So it was a week of like nothing, and I was like, you know, it'd be kind of fun if I like counted down until pre-order day. So that was really fun to do. I really like how this one came out. Okay, moving into November. This weekend we just built boxes the entire weekend. This one I like to kind of record like little memories or something that happened. So when Taylor Swift released her Red album, Scott, my partner, came home with like all things red, like red flowers, red candy, red chocolate, red wine. He even went to the grocery store and bought all red groceries just because he thought it would be funny. I like to record things like that because I like to keep my planners since there are so many memories in them. So later on I can look back and kind of reminisce. This week obviously was the week I was packing planners, so nothing happened other than that. Lots of audiobooks. Again, didn't have much happening other than packing orders, but I still wanted to do something. I think we had the first shipment be picked up, so I had a little bit of in-between time before the second batch had to go out. December. This one I tried to do a really cute title, but it didn't really work out. This week I did not finish because it's actually the same week that's in the 2022 planner. So I started doing it with some just information I just quickly jotted down. And then when I had time in my 2022 planner, I did a real week. So this week is kind of like a in-between transition time. But then we get into just wrap up. This is more of the title I was going for on the TBR. This one turned out way better and was much more fun. I also think these Christmas lights are really cute. This is one of my favorite dot grids I did. Quarterly check-in. I didn't finish these two because goals progress I did somewhere else, and then the books I wanted to read next quarter. This goes into the new year, so I have that elsewhere as well. And I didn't color my doodles, but I did do them. Then we get into the book reviews. I'm going to show you kind of how it went. Don't read them if you don't want to be spoiled, because there's probably spoilers, I'm not sure. But in the beginning, I started out really well doing the reviews. There came a certain point in time where I only did my reviews on Goodreads, but I still wanted to keep track of the information section. So I did do that for all of the books after I stopped writing reviews. Starting in October, obviously when I was getting busy with packing orders, I didn't have as much time to physically write out my reviews, but I did want to keep track of all the details of the book, so that's what I did for those. It's just an alternative way. I didn't read enough to fill the book, so there were leftover review spots. Then we get to the end of the planner, reading wrap-up page. For the things 2021 taught me, I just did a quote that kind of stuck with me through the whole year that I thought summed up 2021. Filled out my kind of stats here, wrote down some memorable moments. I'm not going to show you the social media stats. Moving on, here we have my pie charts. I should have used a protractor to get them to be better, but I didn't have a protractor. I did buy one, so look out 2022. I did just use a simple ruler. I have this clear 6-inch ruler that I use in my planner every single day. I just used that and got percentages, kind of went with that. They are fairly accurate. Maybe not to an exact right angle that it should be, but in terms of everything, it is fairly accurate. And then we move into pages read. I do this also by genre, so it's a stacked bar graph, but it's always fun to see at the end of the year. Then we have my Pop Sugar reading challenge. Someone had asked me on my Instagram to show it filled in. I did not finish the 2021 reading challenge for Pop Sugar, but as you can see, I just wrote the name of the book beside it and checked it off when I did it. It was fun to try and do it. I don't think I'm going to do the 2022 version. I read through the prompts and wasn't really feeling it. So I am looking for a new reading challenge for 2022 that is outside of what I include personally in the planner. So if you have any ideas, let me know. Not that there's anything wrong with the Pop Sugar reading challenge. I just want to try something new. From there, we have some trackers I personally added. I can't show you this one because it's about my shop, but I just have here a list of the month, how many orders I got that month, and then the total sales with some stats at the bottom. This is one of my favorite things I added. I'm going to do it again in 2022. I'm actually going to make a whole separate video on how to do this. So if you want a tutorial, that is coming soon. But it's just a page tracker. I have a key down here. Each color represents a 50-page breakdown. It was really fun to fill it in. I actually did this in I think September or something. So obviously I'm going to do it earlier this year, but it's really fun to see it come together. I did little X's if I didn't read that day. Then we have my reading goal tracker. So this is kind of twofold. It tracks my formats, but it also tracks my reading goal for the year. So my goal is to read 52 books. So I put a star on the 52 mark. I obviously read more than that, so I brought it over to the second page. These stickers are the mini stickers of the icons from my shop. They are sold out right now. They're coming back soon. It's just my printer who does the stickers is actually closed for a couple of weeks right now. Once they're back and open, they will be coming back. So the full size is in stock still if you want those. This was really fun for me. I'm going to do it again in my new planner. At the end here, I had some extra space, so I just put some my year in books stats. And that's it. Then we just have the notes. I didn't use the notes in my planner. I don't really have a need for them. So that is it. That is a look through my 2021 planner. I hope you enjoyed seeing a flip through. Next up, we are going to be doing setting up my 2022 planner. So that will be the next video, along with some of the trackers that I have in here. I'm going to do tutorials for those. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.